welcome to the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast. I'm Ruth and I love to knit. You're very, very welcome here today. It is still only 8:30 in the morning here on the 12th of July 2023. And I'm coming to you, as always, from the southwest of England, Devon to be precise, where it is a very dull and rainy morning. So lights are on. I hope this is presentable, despite my still half asleep eyes. And I hope you'll come and join me for a wee bit of nitty chat. Grab your drink, grab your craft, whatever you need, and we'll spend a bit of time together. As always, you can find me on Instagram at the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast, not the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast, on Ravelry as Ruth Loves to Knit, and we have an email for the podcast which is ruthlovestoKnit@gmail.com, and feel free to get in touch with me on any of those platforms. Since the last podcast, it wasn't really a podcast, I've had quite a few messages, so I hope I have replied to everybody. If any of you have fallen through the cracks, please do get in touch with me again and I'll endeavour to answer your questions. So it's been just about 2 weeks since I last saw you, and I have done a lot of knitting. I said to you last time, I think, that my husband was heading off for 2 weeks to Edinburgh for a big conference that our mission runs every year. Had to go and help with the setup and the takedown and everything. So he's been away. So I knit guilt-free, maybe, is that? And also last week my son was off school for 2 days sick, and then off school for 2 days with teacher strikes. So he was a real part-timer last week, and obviously I was at home. Louis 13. I think when you're sick, I still want to hang around. So I did sit and knit quite a lot. So I want to show you what I got up to. What else has happened since we last saw you? I've covered up my notes, that's dangerous. My lovely brother got married. He got married in Switzerland. I popped a picture up on Instagram to say he's getting married, and I think people thought I was there, but we didn't go. It was a very small wedding in Switzerland. His son and her sons and a few other friends went, and they seemed to have a lovely, lovely time. Still there, still on honeymoon, living the good life. But yes, a week ago on Saturday, I think it was, 2nd of July. Yes, my brother got married. So there you go. What else have I got? My life is very boring, but everybody else's in my family seems to be doing all sorts of things. I've been grounded here at home. So 2 hashtags to follow. The first one is You Feel Free in 23. I'll put it on the screen. And that is just a wee hashtag that I wanted at the beginning of the year. Everybody, that's generalisation. Lots of podcasters seem to be fixated on getting things done and doing this and doing that and spreadsheets and all sorts. And I just thought, that sucks the joy right out of my crafting. I'm going to run a hashtag just very free and easy, and it's You Feel Free in 23, and you do whatever you want, knitting, crafting related. And I have from time to time picked a winner from that hashtag to send a wee pattern to, and I've picked a winner out. Now, the winner I've picked out is Kelly to Knit. And I'll put it on the screen. So the name Kelly, then the number 2, then knit. And I want to show you, look at this beautiful, didn't have this planned very well. Where's the thing? There we go. To darken the screen, don't you? Look at that. Isn't that just stunning? Gorgeous. So Kelly, I presume your name is Kelly. If you're watching, could you get in touch with me on any of the platforms I mentioned before? And let me know what pattern you want on Ravelry or wherever you want, and up to the value of about, I'm going to say, £8. If you're American or whatever, you can work that out in your currency, and I'll happily gift that pattern to you. So well done, Kelly. That is a stunning blanket. And I'll be picking more winners, I'm sure, as the year goes on, although the year's going that fast. There might not be, maybe a few more winners. But thank you for joining in with that wee hashtag. Then, of course, we have our MAL, our make along, dust them off MAL. And quite a few people have already entered into that, put things into that. Lots of questions about that. Even after even doing the wee podcasty thing last time about it. It started on the 1st of July, it's going to the end of the year, so there's no rush to be starting it. Just something that's trundling on. And we have lots of prizes. Some more come in this week, but I'll show you those in due course. And the only proviso really is that you are using a pattern that you have had since before the 1st of July. If your craft uses a pattern, you can enter it. And so some of the questions I've had are diamond painting, go for it, suppose it is a pattern. Embroidery, of course. Crochet, of course. And one was rug making. If there's a pattern for rug making, you go for it. Sewing, whatever you want to do. And I've already had a couple of emails with finished objects. So as I say, if you're not on Instagram and you want to be included, just send me a wee email with an attached finished object photograph, and I will include you in the make along. It's just a fun wee make along to get those books and magazines and Ravelry patterns pulled out, and an incentive to get them cast on. And several people have even delved deeply into their stash and are using. I think one lady this week had started a pattern that she got in 1998. So that's definitely dusting it off, isn't it? Well done, you. So that's just going on, trundling on, and please, jump in. As I say, there's prizes. There'll be lots of lovely prizes. It's open worldwide. And maybe it's something you want to do for your Christmas projects, maybe your Christmas presents, maybe somebody you've had, a pattern for a while and you just think, oh, that would suit so-and-so. And yeah, just join in. So the Dust 'em Off Mal is underway. Yeah, so I think that's the questions answered. I feel very rusty this morning yet. It's not that long since I've podcast. Maybe I haven't taken enough sips of my coffee. Hang on a wee minute. You can listen to me clear my throat. Right, well, we just jump in because, that's what you're here for. FOs. So I have an unexpected FO. I have 3 that you hadn't even seen the last time. I think I'm going to name this episode "Do As I Say, Not As I Do" knitting edition. All will be revealed. Yes, no, hang on. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 FOs that you didn't even see the last time. That's only 2 weeks ago. I did a lot of knitting, but anyway. So the first one I want to show you is very, very simple. I was watching the Albanach knitter, Andrew, lovely Andrew from the Isle of Arran up there in Scotland, and he has started running let me get this definitely right, charity beanie along for the Salvation Army. Obviously the Salvation Army in the UK, I presume it's all over the world. I know the Salvation Army is all over the world, but I presume that they work with the homeless all over the world. And he has started Beanie along for making hats for the Salvation Army to give out to the homeless. It's all on his podcast. Go and look up the Albanach knitter, and I'll put all the details in my show notes of who I talk about. If I don't, incidentally, just get in touch and I will amend that. I'm only human and menopause brain doesn't always compute. But yes, so the pattern he's using, and you can get this pattern in his, it's underneath the video that he talked about, the Beanie along, and it's also in his bio in his Instagram. And it's from No Frills Knitting. He's very friendly with the girl who runs No Frills Knitting in Bristol, and she has a free pattern, and it's for the beanie, this beanie. Nice royal blue. Now, it's not as bright as it's coming up. It's darker. he was saying, you know, don't do bright colours, don't do, you know, homeless people tend to want to just go into the shadows and not stick out. And so although that's coming up very, very blue, it's not as royal blue as it looks. And it couldn't be easier, and just fold it over and you have a beanie. And I've done one, and I think I'll just have these on the go. They're so quick. Well, this one's double knit, so quick. And I think I did this in a Zoom session, and were so stretchy and would fit any head. And if you want to join in, I'm sure Andrew would love to have you join in. And then near the time, he's going to give the details of who to send them to and everything. So wouldn't be hard to post off, you know, a box full of these beanies as light as a feather. I got this out of 50 grams of DK, so 100 grams is just acrylic. I can't remember the name of I think it's Woolcraft or something. It's just acrylic yarn, so that there's no bother, and they can just throw it on, keep them warm, and hopefully feel a bit loved. So that's the Beanie Along by Andrew of the Albanach Knitter. Go and check out his podcast and all the details. So that was a wee quick kind of palette cleanser, really. And then the next thing was the surprise cast off. And I'm wearing it. Now, I seem to pick colours that do not show up on podcasts or cameras or anything. But this is my finished sweater for the eagle-eyed among you. You may remember that I was knitting a sweater for my husband. And he chose the yarn, which is Woolyknit, 100% British wool in the colourway. Maybe, is that? Sometimes it doesn't show up when you're podcasting, and then it shows up fine in editing. But it's kind of a sea foam colour, and I have got the Woolyknit shade cards, and it's not on it. So I don't know. This was given to me by a lovely viewer. So I don't know if they're not doing it anymore, but it's like a heathered sea foam. That's exactly. He picked it out of my stash, and then as I was knitting it, I was knitting it in the car on the way up to Edinburgh at Easter, and he kept looking over, and he could see in his face this was not what he wanted. So I kept knitting anyway, thinking, you know, he'll wear it for me. And he said, well, he'd wear it in the house, a hand knit jumper. So I threw the toys out of the pram. And I just decided I would wear it. So I cast off and I made it short sleeves, and it's the So Basic sweater from Maxim Sear. It's mine now. You can see the only detail on it really, it's just a raglan, top down raglan. The only detail on it really is there's pearl bumps the whole way around. Now, I initially thought I would knit the long sleeves, and I started to try to run up these pearl bumps and make them into knit stitches so that it would look plain. Well, this is 100% wool, sticky, you know, very hard to rip out. So I gave up. I think I did one under the arm and gave up. And so I'm happy with this wee design. You can see the whole way around. And because it's short sleeves, it's fine. If I stand up, it's always dangerous when you're on a rocking chair to stand up, isn't it? And sorry, it's been folded up, and I just bound off, and I am very happy with it. Now, full disclosure, I think I bound off too tight, so I'm going to undo that and do a looser bind off. But today, actually, I need this. It is actually quite chilly here today. Lovely raglan, just front and back's the same, and I hope when this is edited up on YouTube you'll be able to see the lovely green. Don't know that it's always my colour, but it is now. And I'm happy with it, and you will see this. There's a lot of, in this podcast, you're going to see a lot of yarn being reused and repurposed, and you're going to see this yarn again. So that was my unexpected cast off. I'm very happy with it and I will be wearing it. So it's a unisex top. And as I said last time, I do wear short sleeves that time of life, wear a wee short sleeve top, and it's actually, although it's 100% wool, it is just so light and I love it. So he said, I went down to make the coffee this morning, he said, is that my jumper you're wearing? So no, it's mine. So that's the So Basic sweater by Maxim Sear, and he's not getting anything else. He's not knit worthy. I'm not knitting him anything else. One strike and he's out. So lesson learned. So that's hey ho. Then the next FO you haven't seen cast on. I did it so quickly, and it is a test knit for Tiff Neilan. Now you know I love Tiff Neilan's stuff, and this came up and I thought it's just a bit of me. Now it's not the best photograph in the world, but I'll show you it anyway. Oh, maybe it shows up all right. It's called the Sunkissed Stripes. And as soon as I saw it, I applied and she accepted me. And I just couldn't put it down. As I say, I was at home for probably the 6 or 7 days last week. I just made the most of it. After there's only so much you can do in the house. And I had this yarn, and I thought I would use it all. It was solid colours, and I thought I would use it all in individual projects, and then I just thought this is the project to use it all, and this is what I did. Get around the right way. Hope you can see this, because I'm really not convinced these colours are showing up. Oh, I love it. Look at that. The Picot bind off. I just think it is the nicest combination. Oh, I have wound everything in. I just obviously haven't snipped them well enough. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. In fact, you can nearly wear both today. So you can see it better there. Oh, I love it. Really do. I just blocked it on the washing line, so it's not the best blocking in the world, but I wanted to get it done. And it is, where have I put? It is all from the Wool Matters Fibre Co. Sorry, rustling, I had this in a bag. If you remember from last year, nearly this time last year, August last year, I was meant to go to Ireland with my family, and it all fell through. And but then I had to do a mercy mission to Bristol for them in the middle of the night. It's because the battery in the car was flat in the car park in Bristol, and then we had to go back a couple of days later with the AA to get a new battery. And I made the most of going to the alternate yarn shop, and I had bought the 2 skeins of yarn, and it's from Wool Matters Fibre Co. And she is in Devon as well, but I just have fallen in love. I was given a skein of her yarn in a yarn swap, probably 2-3 Christmases ago. Absolutely fallen in love. It's all botanically dyed, and the colours are, the peachy one is Maddrr Peach, and it's 50% Exmoor Blueface, 30% Devon Blueface Leicester, and 20% Devon Wensleydale. And sourced and spun in the UK. But sourced, spun and dyed in the UK, so you couldn't get more local than that. So the peachy one is Maddrr Peach. The yellowy one is Maddrr Pink. Again, it's the wool company. And then the bluey one is 100% Shetland and Romney lamb's wool, and it was a sock set, so I still have the wee 20 grams of the sock set left, and it's colourway Ray, I'm going to say. Sorry if that's wrong. And I just think this combo, so it's that lovely. This is all I've got left. And I actually ran out, and it was only whenever I was finishing I realized there were a 388 meter skein, not a 400, and I really could have done with 400, and so I had to do 2 repeats less. It's only 4 rows, and this wouldn't have even finished a row, so I just so 2 rows less on this wee bit here. There should have been 10 on that. This is just gorgeous. I blocked it and it has softened up beautifully, and I can't get enough of it. Now the reason I'm not showing you the leftovers of this is because I've already got it in another project. There was actually nearly 50 grams of the peach and the pink left over, so you could easily do this with 100 gram skein and 250 gram skeins. I think the deadline is the 6th of August, so I would say August is going to be the date of the release. She brings them out very, very quick after the deadlines, and I just think you could use any combo and it would look so totally different. And I think the wee Pico bind off is just gorgeous. This is so lovely. I love. So I could have blocked it, and I think I might block it again on the blocking mats, but I just wanted to get it done. You know, I could nearly leave that on and it wouldn't be too warm. But anyway, that's the Sunkissed stripes. The other thing, without giving too much away, is the first stitch was slipped and I found it very, very tight. In fact, it was curling right up. It was really tight, and got in touch, and she said she gave a bit of you know, sort of guidance, but it still didn't work for me. So I used the Stephen West, you know, method of when he does his I-cord bind off. If he says if it's too tight, slip the stitch, slip the first 3 stitches back onto the left needle and knit them again, and that's what I did, and it turned out fine. So I just love it. It's summery, even though it's 100% wool. I just think I just love it. So you will see that. I'd say I'll be wearing that a lot. I never would have put that combo together, but I just love it. I just think it's great. Oh, there's its true colour there. So that's a Sunkissed striped shawl. I really recommend it. Very meditative for beginner shawl, fantastic. Yeah, keep a wee eye out for that. I really enjoyed knitting it. See the detail there, slip stitches, and oh, I love it. And the Wool Matters yarn, Wool Matters Fibre Co yarn is just love it, love it, love it. Then you know how I need to take a sip of coffee. Not buzzed enough. You know how much I loved the mindfulness shawl. Don't panic, it's not another mindful shawl. And I noticed the designer of Made with Loops, Heike, had put out, shown another shawl, and I commented on it, and she asked me to like to test knit it. What do you say when somebody asks? I can't turn them down. So anyway, so I don't know if this is going to be the final name for it, but the name she has up on Instagram, you can see the pictures on Instagram, is Summer Shawlette. And she said it's not coming out for a good while, but it's only a little shawlette, doesn't even take 250, it doesn't even take 100 grams to knit it, and I knit it up really, really quickly. Again, I had a training session last Friday, quite a long one, and I basically knit this in the training session, but there's provisos. So this is the wee shawlette. Now it's really badly blocked because I did it on the washing line and the rain came on and I yanked it off, and it's really not blocked well. But you can see the detail. So and then just a wee throw it round your neck, and I think it's great. She has it what do you call it when you put something on and put it all the different ways? models it. She has a different way. She's to the side. She's over all different ways. On her Instagram, you can go and check it out. And it was so easy. I mean, this is this bit here so easy, and even the bottom bit's really easy. I really need to block it out a bit better. But it's a test knit, and the whole point of test knits are pointing out any mistakes there might be. Well, I kind of got into my training. I was on Zoom, and I kind of lost concentration, and I knit, and realised that there could have been, was it my mistake? Was it her mistake? So I really have no idea. So there may have had to be another one cast on, because I couldn't tell if it was my mistake. I'd overlooked it. The stitch count was wrong. My stitch, I don't know. But that's how easy it is to knit, because I just kind of lost focus, and oh, that's really badly blocked. Sorry. How can you'll be see? I just think it's just simple, but with a wee bit of interest, and I really like it. So the yarns I used for that, just out of stash, just as a wee trial tester, I suppose, to see. Excuse me. And the first one was just a wee silver grey, and that is and they're both 50 grams. That is Cloudborne Fibres Highland Superwash Sock Twist, Grey Heather it's called. And then the other one was a wee pink, wee bit of heather in it too. Sockshare Coop Knits, and it is Ruby. And I mean, I've even got some left, so you really use very, very little yarn. I'm not sure when it's coming out. It doesn't have to be finished till nearly the end of August, so I think it wasn't actually something she was going to put out, only I commented on it. So that's the wee summer Shawlette. Don't know, that has to be for summer, and hopefully in the next one, and I'll reblock these. I think it's been so wet here. When I got a blink of sunshine on Sunday, I stuck it out in the line, and no, it was no sooner out than I had to bring it back in again. So there's definitely more blocking to be done than that. So that's by Made with Loops, and as I say, it's not out yet, it's a test knit. And you'll see my further attempts at actually getting it right and helping her out. Then we have a wee knit group. We meet in Oakhampton, and we meet in a coffee shop, and the usual coffee shop that we meet in has shut for now. It's having renovations, so we've gone to another coffee shop, and there was a lovely guy called Dan, and he was very, very chatty, oh, so helpful. And we're all knitting away, obviously, and he came over and chatting, and he said, he said, oh, what are you knitting? And we're all knitting socks, and I said, oh, what size feet have you got? And so I thought, I'll knit him a pair of socks. Now, he told us he wasn't going to be working there much longer. He'd been accepted to work for the prison service, but he still hadn't heard anything. So I thought I would knit a pair of socks, men's socks. And you know, I'd lost my sock mojo, but I thought, no, sure, it's for a good cause. He's such a nice guy. And I had them done for last week for knit group, and then I couldn't go to knit group. And Sarah, my friend, messaged me and said, oh, it's his last shift. Couldn't believe it. So I now have a pair of size 10.5 men's socks at my disposal. I'll show you them anyway. And I knit these socks too. And I'll just put them in a box, and they can benefit somebody else. There's a bit of knitting in a pair of 10.5 socks. And I just got these. I got this ball in the Woolly Beater. You know, I talk about that shop all the time in Oakhampton, and it's just West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. Sorry, I keep putting this in front of my mouth. In Winter Icicle. So the thought was there, and the socks are here, but he's already gone to his new job, and I'll just keep those for somebody else. They're lovely. I think he would have liked them. He was a bubbly kind of guy, so I hope he gets on really, really well in his new job. Daunting, but he seemed really, really keen. So there you go. And then my last FO was finished very late last night. I couldn't sleep and sat up and knitted. And you've seen these before. These are my Lucky Dip Cal socks, although I'm not doing the cal. I just like the idea. And these are my Cara socks. And if you haven't been here before, you know, you won't know. Sorry, these aren't blocked, but she doesn't mind. I have been, there's an official Lucky Dip Cal, and it's the HCC Lucky Dip Cal from Hawthorne Cottage Crafts. And the idea was to put 12 skeins of yarn in bags or whatever, and forget about it, and then put your hand in every month and lift out one and then knit whatever. I think it's meant to be 100 grams, but I'm doing it with 50 gram sock sets. And this was July, so well, I really got it done quick. Again, car knitting and wait around knitting, and I do a lot of knitting in the car. And it's not as bright as I thought it was going to be, but she's seen them and she likes them, so that's it. And as they're Woolley Goodness Yarns, Sparkle 4-ply, Rainbow and Storm Cloud sock set. And as I say, always say, Woolley Goodness yarn is the softest yarn in the world. I mean, to have these on your feet will just be amazing. Show you the... So this was the little, you can see the sparkle. This was the mini, and this was the sock set. It's gorgeous. So that's Cara's socks, all sorted. And I need to block them because it feels like one's smaller than the other, but I know it isn't. And yep, that's Cara's. And I'll not pick out next month's just yet, because I hopefully will podcast before the end of July again. Excuse me. So, is that enough? Is that enough FOs for you? And obviously this one had very little work to be done on it. It was literally just, I think, a few inches on the body and the cast off, and I knit a few inches on the sleeve and cast off, so this was really, really quick. Yeah, tough. He's not getting it. So how many FOs was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I mean, they weren't massive big projects. They were wee shorty socks, and well, there was a size 10.5 pair of socks. Gosh, there's a lot of knitting in those. But as I say, I had a lot of time to knit. So whoopsies. Okay, move that out of the way. You've seen all the whips I have, I think. Yes, I think you have. So let's see if I know what's in these bags. Okay. So the first one you saw last time, and I have done a little bit on it, and it's the Smilga shawl by Inese Sang. Let me get a photograph for you. Let me see if I can get you this. There's it there. There's it there. So it seems that you knit the shawl and then you add the bubbles, but I'm going to just do one colour bubble. I hope this is bright enough because it's literally like nighttime out there. And this is what I've done so far. I think it's nice. Lovely, I love it, but I haven't done an awful lot of it because I've been keep picking up test knits. I should have put the overhead light on. Oh, this is showing up. Anyway, so this is Woolyknit 100% wool. This is the Woolyknit show in the colourway Lupin, and I did my Storm Seeker tee in this from Row and Cades, and I really just am using up all of the yarn at the moment, and I'll just work away at that. It's not an intuitive pattern, but it's an enjoyable pattern, and I love cables, so win-win. Okay, the next one in my gorgeous soft accents bag. I mean, that's just brighten up anybody's day, wouldn't it? And oh no, we'll keep that one. Okay, the next one is my round 2 of the summer shawlette for made with loops, and I am using the yarn from the Sunkissed stripes, the what's left over, and this is what's left over. So this is the maddrr peach, no, this is the maddrr pink, and this is the maddrr peach, all botanically dyed by Ravelry Yarn Co. And this is what I've done so far. Just the stripe bit, haven't got any further. But you might see the design feature. I just can't follow a pattern, it seems, at the minute. I may have missed out one of the stripes. Sorry if that triggers you, but it doesn't trigger me, and I am not going back to fix it. I don't know, I didn't even realise. So I'm just going to take it as a design feature. And what can I say? Perfection's not for me. So I think that'll be a nice one too. And again, I love using up all the yarn. I really hope this is bright enough for you to see what I'm doing. And that's in my wee strawberry punnet. Got that maybe 2 years ago from, I think it's Ravelry Sews. Perfect. So that'll be back, nearly finished that today. I think there's like 18 rows still to be done on it or something. So hopefully I'll be able to tell if it's just me or if there's some stitch counts wrong in the pattern. But that's what test knitting's all about. That's what you do it for, to help out the pattern designer. Because you know yourself, if you look at something for long enough, you don't see the mistakes anymore. And I don't know if I'm the right person to be making those decisions at the minute, but hey ho. So my next one is another test knit that is for Anniina of Juuti Knits, lovely Finnish designer with podcast as well. And if you think you're seeing double, so you've seen 2 projects in the Wool Matters Fibre Co, and now 2 projects in the Woolyknit Sea Foam. Oh, I think this might be a bit too much. Nothing like a twin set. Yeah, I think that might be a bit much. And there's a lot of knitting in this too, but it's only an 8 row repeat, and I'm starting to get it so that I can just do it. So this is the lovely pattern just on one side, and then it tails off on the other side. Yarn everywhere with a nice wee detail there too. So this is going to be so cozy come winter. I don't know what that stitch called, what that sort of pattern's called, I'm not sure. But it's got a nice slip stitch down both sides as well. And I was knitting away on this, and I realised that I had totally missed a stitch, and I'd moved this slip stitch completely over a stitch. But I was able to thread down and ladder down and fix it without having to rip out the whole thing. You can probably see how much I had to go down to about there. But that'll block out, no problem. And incidentally, because it's only, oh, the smell, I love the smell of wool. Because it's only an 8 row repeat, and I can't count past 2. I was on Instagram and I saw this wee thing that I've been using, and I don't know if in your house your kids had a craze for these poppets. We have 3 of them for some reason, and I've started using this as my row counter. Instead of having to click and find and they recommended you wrote the numbers on it, but I think I can count. And once I've done a row, you just pop it through, and then when I've done to the end, I just turn it over and pop them back through again. I think it's brilliant. The kids don't bother with them anymore, so I rounded up, I think 3 of them, and I did write the numbers on this one but didn't put it on with a very good pen. So if you've any of these wee things, that's what I'm using. I just keep it on the desk, and then when you finish that, you just pop it over and push them, and it's worked great. A lot less fiddly than a proper row counter. Maybe you're better than me and you can count. I can't. I lose track. Concentration isn't my greatest thing at the moment. And so I've repurposed these, which were going to the charity shop, and I'm using them for my knitting. Waste not, want not. So I haven't written the numbers on because I mean you can count. And I have one in another, what other project have I got one in? Oh, in the summer Shawlette as well. So I find it great, really, really good. So if you've got those lying around the house, repurpose them because the kids get bored. There was a big craze at one point, wasn't it? So that's my high-tech line counter. Yeah, I find it really, really helpful. So I have done something that I said I was never going to do. That's the story of my life, isn't it? If you remember, oh, where did I put it? Here. If you remember, I showed this, I've got wool in my mouth. I showed this pattern, crochet pattern that my mum had given me. And I said it was far too hard for me and way out of my skill level. And I least double digits of you messaged me and said, I've done it, it's fine. This was my first crochet project. I'll go for it, all the rest of it. So I thought I need to take the challenge. And I went to my trusty friend, Hannah, of Hannah's Happy Space. Oh dear, Hannah, we're 42 minutes in and I haven't mentioned you. And I said, I was dropping my son, she lives in the local town, and I was dropping my son into Army Cadets and was hanging around, as I always do. And I said, would you be free for a wee crochet lesson? So I went up to Hannah's, and her house is just full of beautiful bright crochet blankets and crochet toys and all the rest of it. And she sat with me, literally sat with me and helped me do a granny square. Now this, I think I started once and had to restart, and then this is the first attempt. And then I came home and tried one that didn't work. another one that kind of worked. And then I think this is the best one. So if I can do it, I guess anybody can do it. Can I rename this knitting and crochet podcast? I don't think it'll be, I definitely don't enjoy it as much as knitting. So if you've watched before, you know I have a long-term double knit yellow scraps crochet blanket. That's that. never gonna have that as a title for a pattern. Just granny stripes, and that'll be going on. I did some of that even when my son was off sick. And I also had for a long time on the go a fingering weight scraps one. I'm not big mini skein person. I love the look of them. I think they're cute and they sit and I do nothing with them. But I'd been doing this. Oh, something's just fallen out. And I'd got to about, I suppose maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 rows, but it was gonna take forever. So soft. So, haha, this is me. I know what I'll do. I'll rip that out and I'll do a granny square blanket instead. Which is that. So it started. It's not perfect. Please don't judge me. Obviously we'll need a major blocking. My tension, I'm sure, is ski whiff, but you know, I've started. I don't know if this is what you're meant to do. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if you do just keep going round and round and round. I have no idea. But I'm literally knitting it and pulling it off this one. as I knit it. Sorry, there's real glare with the light. And again, it'll be, my kids will be left home by the time I finish this. I definitely can't crochet for as long as I can knit. My hands, and I think I'm uptight and my shoulders get tight and everything. But so someday I will do the other, because I have the kit for it. I will do the other one that my mum bought, and I have, I'll not be able to show you this maybe without, I have magic knot balls for days in my, from Aldi, No Way Crochet that a friend bought me, well, 2 years ago. All of that to unravel. I was starting to ball it up, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to crochet off it. Oh great, I've got that stuck in the zip. Well done, Ruth. And yeah, I don't know if I'm doing it right, but anyway, it's only for me. There'll be nobody judging me, and you maybe say that again at some point, but I don't know if you do just keep going round and round and round, but I am. So thank you, Hannah. She's an amazingly patient teacher, and we had fun. It's always nice to go to Hannah's house and always get a good welcome. And yes, sometime this, you might see this project on the needles, but right now I'm just going to keep practicing on the granny square blanket. So for those who heard me saying never, 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 it'll not be, I definitely don't enjoy it as much as knitting, as I say, and I can only really see me doing blankets and things. So, but what a great way to use up all your scraps. I have a bucket full of scraps. The DK one, I'm holding double all my yellow, which I have an infinite seems to be amount of, and this one I'll just put all of my scraps, doesn't matter what colour they are. I'm not going to have any, you know, rhyme or reason to them, just as and when. So you never know what I'll pop up with next. And for those who are really accomplished crocheters, we all have to start somewhere, don't we? Okay, so if you're shouting at the screen saying, Ruth, you did a podcast just a few weeks ago and you talked about the dust 'em off mal, and you talked about the projects you were going to do, where are they? Do as I say, not as I do, knitting edition. I did do a swatch. So I haven't started the, I'm going to say this right, the Hiraeth shawl from the 52 Weeks of Shawls by Clare Walls. I was told by a lovely viewer that that's a Welsh word, and it means a longing for someone or something, or homesickness. So I suppose a big shawl, big cuddly shawl like that, it's just exactly what you want, a big hug. But yes, I haven't started it, sorry. And then the other one that I had picked out of this Making Stories book, magazine, journal, is the Grassland tee, I suppose you could say, with the lovely lace detail at the front. I've done a swatch. So where's my swatch now? I don't even have it to show you. Oh, where did I put it? There's it. So the last time I showed you my yarn, which is again from Woolyknit. So cheap and cheap. Actually, there's a 50% off sale on Woolyknit, and some of their in a selected things, and so you might get a wee bargain. And it's not going to show up. It's like a petrol green. And I was adding kind of a fluff to it. I caked this up yesterday. I'm not greatly into fluff, mohair and all the rest of it, but this is a real compromise. Well, that's perfect. That's gorgeous. And it's just, this is Charm from King Cole. Stylecraft, no, it's not, it's Stylecraft. Can't even read. And it's 85% premium acrylic, 10% wool and 5% mohair. And it's not the feeling, it's not the, mohair doesn't irritate me, it's the feeling of it. It's the, puts the hairs on the back of my neck up. And it was whenever I was podcasting last time and I was showing the label and I saw that it might come up striped. I thought, oh, but it has come up gorgeous. I don't drop all this on the floor. And this is my swatch. I think it's going to be gorgeous. Now, it's going to be another one that I wear in the winter time because it's DK, because it's got holding the two together. Got perfect gauge on the needles they recommend. Try not to drop that on the floor, but I'll just put it on the floor. It's just beautiful, and it's soft as butter. So yeah, I've done something. Oh, so I'm not even doing my own mal, but I am. But that's why I extended the time, because I knew what I'm like. I know what I'm like. But we are going to Ireland for 2 weeks in August as a family. The trip that we tried to do last year is now happening this year. My mum and dad are going to come here, look after the dog and overlap a wee bit, and then we're going to go to their house and use that as our base and go down south to the south of Ireland to Kilkenny to see my father-in-law, and that's a good 5 hours in the car, so there'll be plenty of knitting, and I think that might come, or something else. In fact, maybe the Coastland shawl should wait, and that would be great car knitting, but we'll see. It's my knitting. I'll cast on if I want to. There's always content. I always have content. You might think I have a problem of decision making and sticking to what I say, but as I say, this podcast is definitely do as I say, not as I do. You'll be glad to know that's it. That's the all of the whips for now, and there's a few bits have come into the house, but I show you them as and when I'm using them. I'm just looking, they're behind you on the bed, that's why I'm just looking. Yeah, I'd show you them when I'm using them as I use them regularly. So that's it for the knitting. Plenty, says you. You know, I'm a Christian, and I always end my podcast with a wee thought that's been on my mind from the Lord, and I want to tell you a wee story today. A true story, but just something to stick in your head and make you remember. If that's not for you, if it's not something that you want to be involved in, you're very, very welcome to stay. I'd love you to stay. It's nothing deep, not deep theology. But if you're leaving me now, I just want to thank you so much. Give me a wee thumbs up if you want to, and yeah, I'll see you next time. God bless. Bye. If you are staying, I'm going to take a wee slug of coffee because my throat is going a wee bit. I just want to talk to you a wee bit today about something that I shared with the kids on Sunday, and I'm sorry, I often do this to you, and I hope you don't feel patronised, but I just get so much out of preparing the kids' talks that I want to share with you. And the theme for the kids' talk on Sunday was God's coincidences or God's incidences. There's no coincidence with God. God's timing, which of course is perfect, and God's blessings. And as always, I'm thinking, how am I going to share this with the kids? And you know, it just reminded me of a wee story about a lady called Helen Roosevelt. Now, my mum, I think, told me this story when I was young, and we definitely had a book in the house. And then my I don't know where I've put it now. We have a book now. Best laid plan. Oh, here's it. My dad bought my daughter a set of books not that long ago, and there's 5 in the set, but this is the one that Helen's mentioned in, and it's 10 girls who use their talents. There's 10 girls who changed the world, 10 girls, and then there's a boys series as well, and it's an amazing series about the most wonderful women who served the Lord in so many different ways. But Helen Roosevelt was a girl who grew up in England and grew up in a family that moved a lot due to her father's job, and she was a bit of a loner and always felt a bit left out, and she tried so hard to please people and, by her own admission, craved love. Eventually, after her initial schooling, she went off to Cambridge University to study medicine. And on her first day, a girl invited her over for a coffee. Helen felt so lonely, so far away from home, thinking she'd done the wrong thing, and this girl struck up a friendship with her. But unknown to Helen, this girl was a Christian, and from that day, on, this girl was praying for Helen, and they really got on well and got a great friendship. But the first Christmas that Helen was at uni, she couldn't go home because her sister had mumps. And she was so distressed that she was going to have to spend Christmas, this holiday period, on her own. But coincidentally, it just so happened that this lovely friend, I think she's called Dorothy, and some others were going to house party at a Bible college, and invited her along. Now, I used to go, when I was got saved, I used to go to these house parties, and they were fun to be together with other Christian young people and learning about the Lord, having fun, and this is exactly what they were going to. And Helen was a bit, oh, really? And then she said, sure, why not, if nothing better to do? And it's definitely better than being alone. At the weekend, she actually gave her life to the Lord, and up until then, she always felt that she was never good enough, a bit unloved and tired of trying to please people all the time. And after she got saved, she had asked the Lord to forgive her sins and to come into her life. She looked up and she saw a scripture text on the wall, and it was Psalm 46 verse 10. And it said, "Be still and know that I am God." And in that moment she said, from now on, my life's work is to please my Heavenly Father. No more people pleasing, no more trying to do things so that people will love me and appreciate me. I'm going to follow the Heavenly Father. And friends said her face was shining when they saw her after she asked the Lord into her heart. You know, as time went on, she graduated as a doctor and went to the Congo in Africa in 1953. She had to do so many things that as a doctor that she wasn't trained for, different operations, different things that she just had to take a big deep breath and go for it. And every time she remembered, be still and know that I am God. And the folk there loved her so much, they named her Mama Luca. But you know, one story that really touched me, and I remember it very clearly being told it, and it's a true story, and that's what I love as well. One day she was telling a group of orphans that she cared for. There was a group of children who had lost their parents, and they were cared for at the hospital where she was. And she was telling them about a mum who had sadly died in childbirth and left a newborn baby and a 2-year-old without a mum. And even in Africa, babies get cold. Many of you know I worked in Bangladesh as a midwife, and even in that hot country, we used to have little babies that once they were born, their temperature just plummeted. And nowadays we probably put them skin to skin, kangaroo care, but in those days maybe that wasn't thought of. And Helen suddenly remembered that there was a hot water bottle, and I remember putting hot water bottles under sheets for babies too. And she sent off one of the little orphan girls, and her name was Ruth. And I remember, you know, thinking, oh, that's brilliant. And she sent this little girl off to get the hot water bottle. Well, Ruth came back so distressed because obviously a hot water bottle is made of rubber, and it had dozed in the heat or through use, and it couldn't be used for this hot water. And she was so upset about this. Obviously in those days, 1950, whatever, there was no shops that sold, you know, things like that. And I'm sure in Africa it wasn't the thing that anybody thought they would need. So they couldn't get one just like that. And Helen had taught the kids to pray, and the power of prayer, and what prayer means, and how prayer is our relationship with God, and how amazing prayer is. So Ruth, she's only 10 years old, she was going to pray for a hot water bottle, and not just a hot water bottle, but a dolly for the 2-year-old child as well, who'd lost her mummy. Now, Helen was a lovely Christian. Helen had her total faith in God, but I think she thought, you know, this is a step too far. How am I going to tell this little girl, this little 10-year-old girl, that this is maybe a waste of time? You know, she didn't hold out much hope. But Ruth was convinced that a parcel would come and there would be a hot water bottle and a dolly. And Helen had not received, in 4 years that she had been there, she hadn't received one parcel, one gift from home. And she just thought, oh, she's going to be so disappointed. But she couldn't believe it. She got a call to say that there was a parcel waiting for her. That very day, there was a parcel waiting for her. The first time in 4 years. Well, the kids were so excited. And I remember what it was like to get a parcel from home when I was so far away. Oh, it was like Christmas and birthday all rolled up in one, and everybody was interested in what you got. She took the kids with her, and as they lifted things out of this parcel, I don't know what the other things were, wee Ruth put her hand right down into the parcel, and what did she pull out but a dolly and a hot water bottle? Well, Helen shared this many years later again, and I actually met Helen Roseveare because she retired to Northern Ireland just very briefly, and what a story to tell. There was a hot water bottle and a dolly in this parcel. And, you know, God already knew their need. Even before wee Ruth had prayed, he knew their need. There's no way that parcel was sent overnight mail. That parcel had probably been prepared by somebody and sent weeks or months before. And yet there it was, right at the time when they needed it. God's timing is perfect, and there's no coincidences with God. And sometimes his blessings are simple, but oh so effective. Just a wee dolly and a hot water bottle. You know, if possible, take a step back and a deep breath and remember the verse Helen saw on the wall the night she was saved. Be still and know that I am God. Whatever you're going through just now, be encouraged that God knows and God cares about every aspect of our lives. If he can send a hot water bottle and a wee dolly, he cares, despite how we may feel humanly speaking. You know, in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12, it says, now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. And of course that's talking about when we go to heaven. And we don't understand as humans God's mind. And we don't understand as humans often God's plan. But you know, he has our best interests at heart. He is in control. He knows. And when you're having a hard day, you think of that hot water bottle and that wee dolly and the perfect timing of that. And God just has you in his hands. He knows, he cares, and he's with you today. Hand it over to the Lord and he will listen. I'm not saying, as I always say, I'm not saying that life's going to be easy. We still, as Christians, suffer just the same, and we're in an imperfect world. But someday, when we go to heaven to be with him, we'll have no more pain, we'll have no more suffering, we'll have no more wars, and we will be able to see what God's plan for us really was. Just a wee story. I hope it's a wee earworm, and if you're having a hard time today, I'll just remind you that God's in control and his timing is perfect. There's no coincidences with God, and he gives us blessings that maybe we don't even appreciate. You know, to be able to share that with kids is amazing. But I hope today, even as an adult, you will have got something out of that. And, you know, if you want to read more about amazing missionaries, men and women, I hope to maybe talk a wee bit more about some other amazing missionaries through the ages and amazing people that the Lord used in amazing ways. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with me. Usual ramble. I hope you've enjoyed your cup of tea or coffee or whatever you've had. I hope you've done a bit of crafting. And until we see each other now, keep on knitting or crafting or crocheting or whatever you're doing. All right, God bless. Bye.